morning. We are in Chamonix, France, and on this beautiful August morning, we've taken France's highest cable car up for a close-up beautiful view of Mont Blanc right behind me. We're going to be in this area for the next 9 days to attempt to do the Tour du Mont Blanc. Our tour is going to be about 75 miles and 25,000 feet of elevation gain. Although we're going to be completing the whole tour, we won't be walking every step of the way. We'll be assisted by gondolas and shuttles and buses on each leg. Every night we'll be staying in hotels. The weather looks beautiful. We hope it stays beautiful the rest of the trail, and we can't wait to get started tomorrow. We're standing on the balcony of our hotel in Chamonix looking at tomorrow morning's hike. It's going to be the first official day on the Tour du Mont Blanc. It'll be a short hike, just about 5 miles, but a very steep one, where we'll be covering about 3,500 feet of elevation gain. We'll be hiking up to that first peak and then taking a cable car from there higher up to Brevant and then back down. And then the fun continues, because instead of hiking all the way down, we will be paragliding back down. And we'll be staying in the same hotel, so we're gonna go to bed early tonight, get a good early morning start tomorrow to beat the heat, and we'll see you then. That's where we're headed. It's our final destination, Brevant. First light. We're doing the day hike today. It's just a warm-up, so we're not taking the most scenic route. We'll be kind of walking along underneath these cable cars. This is where we leave the access road, heading into the woods. There are so many crisscross intersecting trails around this area. There are really hard ones where you kind of just go straight up, and there are more meandering ones. We kind of chose the middle where there's enough elevation gain, constant elevation gain, but not too steep. Wasn't expecting the Via Ferrata on this trail. what happens when you go first. You have to clear the spider webs. We're about 3.5 miles in now, and we're gonna double back to the south. We'll be going underneath a few chairlifts. The end is in sight, right over there, and that will be the launching point for the paragliding. Also, Mont Blanc is right behind me. Final push up. Here it is, the hut and the launch point. We're at the top of the Vermont, which means we finished our hike today. We took the cable car up here. The total hike was about 5 miles, 3,500 feet of elevation gain. Most of it was in the shade. It was nice and beautiful. Even though we were exposed at the top here, the sun wasn't too harsh yet. It was a beautiful first day on the Tour du Mont Blanc. Now we're gonna go back down and then do our paragliding down to the valley. We're getting ready. My favorite
It's a lot of very
run, run,
thick
run, run, run. Alright.
Okay, you can see now. Hopla, good job.
Thank you. We've all landed from our paragliding flight successfully. We had such a wonderful time, so hopefully the rest of the trek will be the same. And so that's the end of day 1 on the Tour du Mont Blanc. It's the morning of day 2 on the Tour du Mont Blanc. This morning we took a bus from Chamonix to Les Houches, and we're right here at the sign, the official start of the Tour du Mont Blanc. Today we're going to take a gondola or a lift, and then from there we'll be walking about 8 miles, about 2,500 feet of elevation gain to the next town, which is Les Contamines. We just got off the gondola, and straight off we're gonna start with a 2.5 mile uphill climb, probably the hardest of the day. Instead of climbing up right from the lift, we actually did the exact opposite, and we've been climbing down towards the suspension bridge of Bellevue, and here we are. Now we start the fun climb up. Not too late for wildflowers. We've taken a variant. We're gonna add some distance, but the view looks beautiful and worth it. This is our first variant, and we're glad we chose it. The original route would be down there in the valley, so this variant brought us around and over on top of the ridge. We got a beautiful view into the other side. We've made it to the pass, the Col de Tricot, and that's the highest point for today, and the hardest section is done. Wow, that descent from the pass down into the valley was no joke. That was 2,000 feet decline in 1.5 miles. We've entered this cute little hamlet at the foothill of the mountain, and now we're gonna stop at the Refuges de Miage for a little lunch. We just finished lunch, and now we're on our way again. We're approaching our second and final climb of the day. It's only about 600 to 700 feet, but it is midday sun, so hopefully we'll all make it up without too much problem. And after that, it's all downhill. We found a nice shady spot to rest because we're almost at the top and we're gonna be fully exposed soon, so it's good to cool down a little bit. We are so thankful that we have dropped into the woods and it's shady, especially in the hottest part of the day, and there's even a nice breeze. And we hope it's like this all the way to Lake Contamine. in Lake Antamine. We're taking our final break before we head over to the Gite tonight. So we made it to our hotel. That means it's the end of day 2 on the Tour du Mont Blanc. We walked about 10 miles, 2,500 feet elevation gain, and about 3,500 feet of elevation loss. It was a beautiful hike, but very difficult because of the heat. We were sweating most of the time, so we love that we're ending in a hotel with our own restroom and showers, and we can get all washed up. And so we're gonna be ready for dinner and start the next day tomorrow. We had a really nice, quiet, long, restful night last night, which is great because today, day 3 of the Tour du Mont Blanc, is the longest day for us. Today we'll be walking a little over 11 miles, going up 4,500 feet and descending just about almost the same amount from Lake Antamine to Les Chapiers. So we're getting an early start to beat the heat. I love these flower-adorned bridges. It's been a nice, flat, easy, brisk morning walk. We've walked about 1.7 miles to get here to the Notre Dame de la Gorge. It's a good warm-up. And the climb begins right after crossing the bridge from the church. First open view of the day. And here comes the sun. And I think we'll be exposed the rest of the way. Like the top of the pass, but don't be fooled, it's a fall summit. So we're at the top of the pass, the Col du Mont Blanc. We are about 7 miles in, about 4,500 feet of elevation gain, so we're around 8,000 feet right now. The climb up to this pass, it's kind of like we were on stepping stairs for Titans. We'll have like a nice long flat road and then a steady climb, and then it levels out for a little while and then another steady climb, and it kind of kept going up like that. So it was good breaks in between. We just finished a nice lunch break at the top of the pass. We still have about 600 more feet of elevation gain to go right now. point of the day. We're looking forward to going down to refill our water. After a quick drink, restroom break, and refilling our water at the refugio or refuge at the top, we are ready to dip down. Still going down. At least it's not as steep as yesterday. We're off the trail and now we're going to be following the gravel road. And we're back on dirt path, which is better than the gravel road, and we're very close to the bottom. We just got down to the bottom and thankfully our auberge is right there. We don't even have to look for it. And that's the end of day 3 on the Tour du Mont Blanc. Today we walked about 11 miles and gained about 4,500 feet. A lot of elevation loss also. It was a tiring day. Not as tiring as yesterday, because yesterday was a lot hotter, but it was hot towards the middle of the day. However, there were some cloud coverage, and right now it's starting to rain. And we're at this auberge. It's almost dinner time, so it's time to go. It is the morning of day 4 on the Tour du Mont Blanc. This morning we took the first shuttle from Les Chapiers to this little village. It's called La Ville de Glacier, and then we'll be walking about 10 miles, going up about 2,700 feet, so less than yesterday. Today though, we get to cross the border into Italy and we'll end in Courmayeur. We're about 1.5 miles in, and it's been a nice, gentle uphill climb. And today, we're really amongst a lot of other hikers, and it's gonna be like that probably the whole day. This valley in this morning light. Up to the top of gondolas, and it's about a little over 3.5 miles in, close to 2,400 feet elevation gain this morning. This is the first time we've seen Mont Blanc since we left Les Houches about 3 days ago, and we are on the border of France and Italy. Yay! It's been a gorgeous hike this morning. Like a steep downhill, so time for the poles to come out. Coming down off the pass, we noticed a herd of cows, and we were so focused on getting to them that we missed the variant going to the balcony, like the balcony path, and so we just kind of continued on the lower path, which is great because we saw the beautiful flowers and we didn't have to climb up a couple more 100 feet. We just had a nice long lunch break at the refugio right below the glaciers and the beautiful waterfalls. We feel rain droplets coming down, but the clouds don't look too threatening. The weather app was correct. We've got afternoon rain showers, light but proper shower, enough for us all to put on our rain covers. There are two rivers joining, but one seems like it's of glacial melt and the other one seems like it's of fresh spring water, and so they're not mixing very well because they have different consistency and density, and you can really see the definition where the two bodies of water meet. But it was just enough to cool us down, and now we're on this road with a gradual decline for another mile and a half. Made it to the gate! We're at the bottom. Now we're walking to the shuttle stop to get to Courmayeur. So we're waiting for the bus into town, and we're gonna do our day 4 of the Tour du Mont Blanc wrap up right now. What a beautiful, wonderful, epic day it was on the trail today. We covered 10 miles, 2,600 feet of elevation gain. There were just grand open panoramic views of the jagged Alps and Mont Blanc, and looking down into the valley, steep valley slopes on both sides. It was just a beautiful day. And then when the afternoon sun was its harshest, that's when the clouds came out and we had cloud coverage for the rest of the way. It was the reason why we're here, why the Tour du Mont Blanc is such a popular tour. We made it to our Hotel Edelweiss in Courmayeur, but not exactly how we thought we'd get here. The bus stop was chaotic. It was a big mess. There were too many people for the bus, and if you weren't pushy, you were not going to get on it. So we weren't able to get on the bus even though we were there earlier than a lot of people. We also know a handful of people who had missed 2 buses, so they had waited for an hour and couldn't get on this bus because they weren't pushy. So in the end, we hired 2 taxis, and it was an adventurous drive down through hairpin turns to the hotel, but we made it safe and sound. And so if you're going to do this, we suggest either hire a taxi, or you can walk down to the next bus stop 51, about a kilometer, they say, down, and get on the bus before they get to that last station. And now it's time for pizza. Actually, we got a shower first. Today is day 6 of the Tour du Mont Blanc for us. Yesterday, day 5, was a rest day in Courmayeur. Today's hike will be booked in by bus services. This morning's bus is leaving at 7:20 and you don't need a reservation, but the last bus, the bus to get into Champelac, we had to book last night. And that's the same, I forgot to say, for when you're in Champelac, you need to book your morning bus to Ville de la Glace the night before. But anyways, back to today's hike. It's going to be about 8 miles and 2,600 feet. And today we will be crossing the border into Switzerland. Alright, we got off the bus. It was about a 40-minute ride. It was really, really packed. We were all kind of crammed in there. But we are now at the trailhead and we're about to start day 6. Almost a mile in, and like most other days on this trek, we've started off with a pretty good climb. So far. There'll be a good uphill climb followed by leveling out of the path amount of steeper climb, so there's a good break in between the harder parts. And we hit the sun. That's where we're headed. It's a good break point. We're almost to the top of the pass, Col Grand Ferret. Always a good snack point. We're almost 4 miles in and we have over 4 miles left to go. This is the highest point on the whole Tour du Mont Blanc at about 8,340 feet high. We noticed that the trail markers have changed and just realized that we are now in Switzerland. The border crossing was right where the pass was.
Allons dans les bois, ma mignonette.
What a fun little break stop. We rounded the valley and this is our first view of the Swiss Alps and they are beautiful, just like in the picture. And our destination is in sight. We just need to get down off of this mountain and then across the river. Just a short distance left. Done, the end. All right, and that is the end of our hiking for day 6 on the Tour du Mont Blanc. We did a little over 8 miles, 2,600 feet of elevation gain. Today was probably the most pleasant of all our days. The weather was cooler. The sun was out, but it wasn't so intense, and there was almost a constant breeze. Yeah, so now we're waiting to take the bus. We're at La Ferrette and we're waiting to hop onto the bus to get into Champay-Lac and hopefully we'll be able to swim in the lake there. Oh, and again, we forgot to mention that we are now in Switzerland. right, it's day 7 on the Tour du Mont Blanc. We had a lovely homemade dinner, and this morning breakfast with homemade jam was so delicious, so we are ready to go. Today's, the stats are very similar to yesterday, about 8.5 miles and 2,600 feet of elevation gain, but most of the climbing is going to be at the end of the day, so hopefully the clouds will stick around and it won't be so hot. We get to start the day off with a nice quiet stroll along the lake Champignac, and today we'll end in Triant, so the whole day will still be in Switzerland. Lunch for today, we got sardines and mackerel. We walked through town and then we've been following this road for the last mile. Here's the TMB sign, just so that you know you're supposed to be on the road. Bye, Champignac! We're about 3 miles in. It's been such a peaceful, quiet walk this morning, just through the roads with little cabins and chalets on both sides. It's just been beautiful. And now we're gonna head off the road and follow the trail into the woods. We're about 4-ish miles in. The easy part of today is over. We're about to start the climb. It'll be about 2,000 feet in 2.5 miles, mostly up. There'll be a break here and there, but yeah, the hard part starts now. And I think we've lost the rest of our group. So thankful for these tall trees providing shade for us off and on this hard climb up. We're emerging from the steep part of the climb. The rest of the climb should be more gradual, and we're emerging from the woods. Holy mackerel! It's lunch break. This is the famous pie hut on the Tour du Mont Blanc, and it truly is delicious, but it's cash only. What a great location for the mountain hut. Beautiful scenery in the back, and we were like serenaded with this cowbell music the whole time. And not to mention their pies. They're also famous for the cheese, but we didn't try any. Right, I think this is the highest point for us today, about 6,700 feet up. And we have about 2.5 miles to go, and I think it's mostly all downhill. I match with the flowers today. we've been really lucky with the bugs so far on this trek. We haven't had many bugs, insects, or mosquitoes at all. If it were mosquito season, this would have been the area where we would have been bitten up, but luckily it's been mosquito free. Made it to Claus, our destination for tonight, not Triant, which means it's the end of day 7 on our Tour du Mont Blanc. Today we walked around 10 miles and 2,600 feet of elevation gain. We had the best pie ever. It was so delicious. You have to get some there. And now it's time for some ice cream and then check in. Good morning! It's day 8 on the Tour du Mont Blanc and it's also our last day. This morning I'm standing in front of what looks like a Swiss chalet, but it's actually a fortified bunker built during World War II to protect the Swiss border. This morning we'll be hiking a little over 7 miles with about 3,000 feet of elevation gain. We'll be crossing over the border into France and then at the end taking a gondola back to Chamonix, and that will be the end of our tour. Off we go. Our first major decision for the day. Do we take the difficult variant or do we take the nice easy walk? Let's see what we decide. Easy it is. Oh look, it's only been about 100 steps and that's where the hard variant spits you back out onto this flat trail. A very sturdy suspension bridge, and now, like the sign points out, the climb begins. We're 3.5 miles in and we have just a little bit of uphill climbing left to do, and then the hardest part of the day is done. That was a fun little scramble. I'm really enjoying this trail today. We've gone past mountain peaks and glaciers, and we've looked into different valleys, and you know, it's so peaceful and quiet today. Not only is this trail just beautiful and peaceful, it's really fun too. It's not like all going straight up at once and then all going down. We've been kind of rolling up and down, and the terrain keeps changing. Sometimes it's a little bit of tricky and you have to kind of maneuver through rock fields. Other times you're on nice flat dirt path, but it's just been really fun. I can see where we stayed last night. I see the bunker and the grassy knoll, and that must be Treant Valley down there. I'm glad we didn't go that way, going down to the valley and then back up again. We see our first view of the pass, Col de Balme, and that's going to get us over the border into France. Hill. We're on top of the pass, and we're excited this time that we actually found a marker. The last time coming into Switzerland, we didn't see it. This side is Switzerland, and now I'm in. The hut and the lift is right there, but on this final stretch we found these wild blueberries, and they're so sweet and they're so fragrant and they're yummy. Like this one right here. Yummy. So good. We made it to the lift, and that's the end of our walking part of the Tour du Mont Blanc, day 8. Today we did about 7.5 miles, 3,000 that thing. It's been a few days since the bus dropped us off in Chamonix, marking the completion of our Tour du Mont Blanc. Right now we are in Wales, and we've had a few days to think about and reflect about our experience of the tour, and we'd like to just give a wrap up to the tour right now. Our version of the Tour du Mont Blanc was 8 days, including a rest day in Courmayeur. In total, we hiked 62 miles and covered 21,500 feet of elevation gain and loss. We used a lot of assistance from shuttles, buses, taxis, gondolas, and even paragliding to get us to and from trailheads. Each night we stayed in hotels or auberges, and we enjoy the luxury of having a nice clean shower and a sheltered bed at the end of the night. There are so many ways to complete the Tour du Mont Blanc. Our version was perfect for us because we just wanted to see the iconic views, walk in nature, but not have to worry about completing 20 miles a day. So if you're thinking about doing the Tour du Mont Blanc, I really suggest you have to understand your purpose. What do you really want to get out of the tour? We wanted the iconic views, but we really respect those who want to complete every step of the trek. That wasn't for us. The Tour du Mont Blanc is a very complicated trek to plan, so make sure you know all the details. Check the bus schedule. Sometimes you have to book your ride the day before. Sometimes it's free when you get there and you just hop on. So just make sure you know all the little details. We had a wonderful time on the tour. Even though our tour was short, 62 miles, it was challenging. It was very steep, going up and down every single day. But luckily, the weather was nice to us. We had a couple of days that was hotter than we wanted, but otherwise we ended up with very fair weather. It only rained at night when we were in the hotel. So overall, we had a wonderful time.